We're back with another early edition of GP Fast Forward, where we miraculously got a kit from Japan before it hit North American distributors. Pre-orders are still open for shipping upon arrival, but in the meantime, let's take a look at what the brand new Red Gundam offers. Every time one of the model kits from the series is announced, we find ourselves wondering, how are they going to cram all of that detail into such a small frame for the price? Once again, Bandai has broken out their best engineering tricks to bring an impressive suite of articulation gimmicks to an extremely detailed and narrow silhouette. There are essentially 180-degree bends in the elbows and the knees, some fairly dynamic chest and waist joints, and probably one of the most uniquely engineered head units we've ever built. But the trade-off is that you're going to have much more touch-up work on your hands than usual to get this screen accurate. More on that later. Regarding the build, it's so intuitive that the entire mobile suit itself can go together inside of an hour if you're quick, and probably inside of 3 if you'd like to take your time with cleanup. There weren't really any particular pain points aside from the small attachment parts with stickers that can be swapped out to hold the shield or the bits, but we've already come to expect our fair share of tiny parts from this line. You're definitely going to want to take the build the weapons and accessories first approach with this, because the Gundam Hammer in particular, while fun, needs a lot of cleanup work due to the wild amount of nubs on it. The most impressive engineering feat here is the hammer chain, molded entirely on one runner, and is actually the exact same runner that comes with the P Bandai RG 2.0 weapon set. We were worried about posability being inhibited by some of the armor elements, but thankfully, Bandai designed this kit so that the obvious obstacles would have simple solutions. The legs can swing down thanks to a multi-axis hip joint, and allows the front armor to get clear of the waist for a full forward and back leg swing. So much so that you can easily get a rebuild Eva running pose out of this. The frame armor on the chest is also impressive in both range and stability, as it can slide out in a way that allows the armor to get full crossbody poses easily, then it just slides back in. While simpler than something like the Seed Action System, the double ball joint with a ball polycap feels a lot sturdier, and it feels like we'll get much more mileage out of posing this. As we mentioned earlier, the main cost-cutting point for this kit was definitely the sticker sheet. You get a sizable sheet of foil stickers for small details like the shoulder lights and eye lenses, and some of these hate staying put. At first, we used a little cement to keep the ones on the shoulders in place, but in the end we opted to just paint over these using a little bit of black and metallic green Gundam marker. While the other stickers on the body and the shield were easy to apply and painless to deal with, they basically phoned it in with the bits and the Gundam Hammer. The Gundam Hammer comes with no color correcting stickers whatsoever, and the only ones included for the bits are the red rims on the Verners. Personally, we always take this as an opportunity to get some practice in with Gundam markers, so we got to work on one of the funnels to show you all how much it can help. We of course used the paintbrush and toothpick method, pouring the markers out so we could use thinner implements to get all the tiny details. The inside of the bits should be painted that standard Gundam yellow-orange, but we opted to go for metallic orange this time around, and you actually only need to paint the thruster protrusions. You can also use the same color to color correct the railings on the wrist and the hands, as well as the vents in the chest. The same color can also be applied to the flared parts on the casing and the main burner. Moving on to the casing, we used MS Phantom Grey here, painting the outer rim of the front and back of the casing, and also very carefully painting the inner rim of every single thruster housing. Don't be afraid of a little spillage or overbrushing here. We can clean all that up for a really crisp look by taking a thin, hard cotton swab, soaked in 70% alcohol or Tamiya acrylic paint thinner, and very carefully wipe away at the excess. The same technique can be used on the Gundam Hammer's thruster housing as well, which we also use the metallic orange on. Finally, we also decided to paint up the red on the main burner of the bit itself, and also use the Phantom Grey from earlier to detail the joint caps on the knees. A little bit of marker can really go a long way here. The same can be said for panel lining. There aren't a whole lot of prominent panel lines along the body itself or the accessories, but the face. Panel lining the face brings out so much detail in this kit that it changed how we looked at it entirely. A little bit of metallic purple to get the cheek and chin cameras also doesn't hurt, as there are only purple stickers for the eyes and the mouth vents. We truly had no idea what to expect with such a far departure from the RX-78 that we've grown to love in our time in the industry. But after seeing the Red Gundam in motion on screen and posing so dynamically in our hands, really drove home just how much we love this design. We will say, having to paint so many of the details on, especially since there aren't stickers to color correct everything, is a major point of contention. We actually completely forgot to paint this in, but these sections on the saber hilts are supposed to be gray, which also would have been such a simple sticker to include. So many of them have a hard time staying on, and others, namely the stickers for the hard points on the shoulders, arms, and legs, have a tendency to rub off so easily with how they protrude. It also wouldn't have hurt to throw in 1 or 2 simple bases for the bits. Not to mention having to buy multiple just to recreate Char's 6-bit setup in the earlier episodes. Nevertheless, this is an enjoyable, refreshing build, and it has even more of an action figure feel than the G-Clocks did. In all honesty, it just makes us even more excited for the upcoming White Gundam and the eventual RX-78 Unit 1, whenever that decides to show up on P-Bandai. As always, thanks for watching. Red Gundam Pose rating. Hey yo! Out of 10.